Welcome to the Growth League podcast, where we interview business owners who have experienced quantum leap growth in their business. In each episode, we're going to dive deep into our guests' firsthand experience about what it was like 90 days before and 90 days after that point when their business started experiencing massive growth. Matt, let's start here. I was introduced to you and to Get in the Loop a long time ago by a mutual friend of ours. And I think you guys played hockey together and grew up together. But just watching from afar sort of the evolution and growth of what started as an $800 startup idea, right? I think is what kind of out of your garage type thing. Can we start off by you just bringing us back to the beginning and describing what the origin of Get in the Loop was?
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of, it's a unique story, but it's like a lot of others in that it was one of those situations where seen a problem in the market. So I didn't have a job. That was the first problem. I'd come back from playing professional hockey in Europe, semi-pro. I should really asterisk that, diet pro, maybe you call it. And was trying to figure out a way I could get a job or get into business. And there was a huge problem with the golf courses in Kelowna at the time. And they were trying to figure out how to market to locals. And, I learned that if it's too hot, too cold, rainy, a shotgun cancels, there's so many scenarios that puts a golf course in a tough spot. And I was learning about text messaging at that point and realizing that you could build platforms that would send out texts to multiple phones and things, and came up with a concept called the golf loop. And it was like, I remember like pitching it to a few friends, and my dad organized a sort of a beer with like 3 golf pros and was like, what if I created a text platform where I'll get all the locals' numbers, and if it's slow, you could just text them like a new offer for $50 in real time. And everybody liked the idea. And so that was sort of how it was born. And within 10 days, I convinced 8 courses in Kelowna to try it. I built the platform, plugged everything in. I paid $800 for the WordPress website to get it designed. And at that time, we actually monetized by charging the consumers to get these text messages like the entertainment book. So we ended up having our first paying customer in 22 minutes, where a consumer paid us to get their Golf Loop membership and start to receive golf texts. So
Come on.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? That's funny because I vividly remember being on a patio at, I think it was Predator, with Dave Krisky, and he must have been in like the unofficial group chat or something like that, because we got a text for a course down the road because we couldn't get on. Yeah. And so I think there was an opening, and so this is where he first explained it to me, and I was like, it's fucking brilliant. Yeah. So it sounds like there was a lot of sort of clarity through action. Did you know exactly what the vision was at that point, or were you just trying to fulfill an immediate need?
Oh yeah, no plan at all. Honestly, the plan was like, hey, can you make a difference for courses? Will consumers like seeing these texts? And even today, I mean, I think we're heading into our 10th year here, and like, it's still sort of the same, trying to solve problems and taking action to do so, and that's all it really was I would just learn quickly. I mean, we everything we did was sort of just out of like, hey, maybe we should throw a golf event so that way people know about us. And I would go to men's nights and hand out like literally pieces of paper that was just like, you should download, or not that time, it was like, you should register for the golf loop. And it was all about just getting out there, and really we had no ad budget or nothing, just showing up at a lot of golf nights.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So for the listeners, before we dig into things here, can you give us a snapshot view of now what Loop Media is and Get in the Loop is?
Yeah. So, I mean, it started out as a text platform helping golf courses, and fast forward, it's become a business marketing tool. So it's a SaaS tool. So software as a service, where any business, we work with spas, golf courses, restaurants, pubs, shopping centers, retailers, home and auto service-based businesses use our technology. They create exclusive offers, limited quantity offers. They promote sales. We've launched a digital punch card and loyalty tool for them. So a variety of different tools and campaigns to attract and retain customers. Everything a business does is completely measurable in real time. We've launched the Get in the Loop app. So that's an app that was built to help consumers find and support local businesses while getting rewarded. We've also built the technology to integrate into other websites and apps. So we reach about 1 million Canadians a week through integrations. We're a team of 45 employees, 95 franchises across the country, which gives us about 175 local entrepreneurs in local markets. And we have just under 6,000 businesses in Canada using our software today.
Jeez. That's quite the evolution.
Yeah, quite a bit has changed.
So with the growth league podcast, what we're trying to dig into is the idea of growth, and we're trying to debunk the idea that it's this one moment in time where there was hockey stick growth. We're trying to communicate the fact that it's ups and downs, and there's a lot of different components: culture, marketing, just getting out there and grinding, loving the grind, as you say, right?
Yeah.
But can you remember or recall, even though I said there's not one tipping point, can you remember or recall a meaningful moment where things really took on a drastically different life?
Yeah, and we've sort of had a few inflection points, One of them was very early on. I was a part of Accelerate Okanagan. We had just launched the software. It was like sort of early days. And I got accepted into like an angel forum in Vancouver to pitch about Get in the Loop. And I showed up there and was really underestimated sort of what the companies were like when I got there. So there was 18 companies that got to go into that pitch. And everybody else was like a true company. Like they had a team, everybody had swag, they had setups and booths. And I literally had a sticky note that had my name on it, and my name was spelt wrong. And I had nothing else. I was like, what? Like somebody should have told me, like, we didn't have swag or didn't even have a banner. And so I just went in and like I had 3 slides and everybody else was so much more prepared. And I went in and told the story that said, I think businesses need help and I can build a tool that makes it easy and it makes it measurable. And people do want to get offers on their phone. Like at that time, building an app was still, oh, you're going to build an app. Like nobody was doing it. It was like 2012, 13. Yeah. And I ended up winning the Angel Forum and being nominated most likely company to go public. And we won all these awards at that show. And I started getting all these people that wanted to give me cash, like wanted to invest in the company. And when I went there, my advisors were like, if you get 1 business card, that's a success. Like your company's so new. And I remember we did this break and all of these venture capitalists were lined up trying to talk to me. And I was like, hey, you guys told me nobody's going to talk to me. Like I wasn't even ready to answer questions. Like, and they were all like coming in and shooting like, what's this? And I was like, I don't even know what's going on. I'm just telling people I got an idea. And so I left the Vancouver Angel Forum early so I didn't have to keep answering questions I didn't know. And I remember driving home and being like, okay, I think something's going on here. And then, that was sort of one of the first tipping points where sort of the momentum that the market scene made me believe a little more that I was onto something.
Okay, so I want to interject there. I think the illusion and the story we tell ourselves sometimes, and entrepreneurs tell ourselves is that you have to show up as your perfect self. You have to have the swag, the gear, in this case, you're demonstrating the power of a good idea, the power of story, and the power of belief in what you're doing, right?
Yeah, I think so, and I think, that's really all it really was, is the ability to communicate with conviction. And the one thing I've learned over time, because now, we've ended up with customers that are some of the biggest companies in the world and things like that. And I've gotten to be in a lot of neat meetings, but you just sort of realize everybody's the same, everybody puts their pants on the same. Over time, that's like the biggest thing that I've learned is every room's the same. You just be yourself and it's fine.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what did you do next then? Okay, so you're driving home. Obviously you're thinking, so Vancouver to Kelowna, 4 hours, right? You're thinking, what was the next 90 days like?
So we went home and I sort of used that momentum and was like, hey, a lot of people want to invest. And I raised some angel money locally. So we raised $100,000 and that was our first investment. And I was going to build out the software and hire a small team with that. And I remember I took the first investment check and I didn't spend $1 for 2 weeks because I debated maybe I should just give it back. Like, I don't know if I want $100,000 of somebody's money. Like it just felt way too much. And we just started to scrap our way to growth, figuring out how to get businesses to be successful, how to get users to use the app, and tried to think about how we would grow into markets. And I had a great group of young people that joined early on, and in, like, you know, we underpay is such an underestimation. Like everybody used to be on $1,000 a month salary, and then we all sat at a coffee shop, and I bought muffins and coffee. And so like we had like 6 people working, but we only had like a $7,000 a month burn rate, 1,000 in muffins, and 6 people on $1,000 a month salary. So I had a lot of people early on that were able to work for a very affordable rate that helped us sort of get moving.
So I'd imagine they believed in it, right?
They did for sure. And you know, as you grow over time, you realize you need people with different experiences and different skill sets. And so, you know, it's not to say that you should grow your company with a bunch of people that can afford or are willing to work for $1,000 a month. But it sure worked for me, and that helped us get to that next step. I mean, the one thing I've learned about growth is it's just like climbing a mountain. Like every few steps you look back and there's a new view, and then you got to figure out how to make the next few steps. Like it is such a long road. If you look at it that way, then you don't have that feeling of failure if you're not moving as fast as the articles online tell you you're supposed to.
That's right. And just remembering that and keeping that close, because when it gets crazy, when it gets dark, I think that's when we got to remember exactly what you just said. Okay. So tell us about, there was a moment in time when you said you were looking at growth and different models of growth, and then you landed on this idea of the franchise model. When did that come up? Why did that come up? And obviously how critical has that been in terms of growth?
Yeah, so it was really interesting. I mean, it was actually it was a very unique time. Sometimes they say when your back's against the wall, that's when you make the best opportunities. And so we had grown from like 2015 to 2017. We landed partnerships with all the media companies in Canada. And so we were a partner of Bell Media, Jim Pattison Broadcast Group, Chorus Entertainment. And we would go into a market. I would go to all the cities and we would train all their radio sales reps how to sell a product like Get in the Loop. Because of course, radio was looking to have digital products that were measurable for their advertisers. And then we would grow our app on their remnant airtime so that more people would learn about it. And so we went into about 15 cities with these partners. It was going quite well. I mean, we could see some of the downsides though. Who they naturally sold to wasn't the greatest customer. So we found to be a great local offers platform, you needed yoga shops and sandwich studios and those cool things. Whereas radio stations sell to car dealers and furniture stores mostly that have big budgets. And then over time, you know, not to be negative on anybody in media, but there was a lot less people listening to radio. So that side of it wasn't necessarily working for us the way we had hoped either. And so in 2017, I went through this distracted year as an entrepreneur where we got offered acquisition from every media company, or a lot of them in Canada. Various companies were interested in acquiring us. So I was in Toronto a lot, deciding if that was the time to sell the company or what made sense. And it just didn't feel right. It felt like, yeah, they would go and sell a lot of companies on it, but they didn't have the right mix. And it just didn't feel like that was the right way to go. And we were still so early in proving out this opportunity. And so we ended up turning down all of our acquirers that year. And then I learned the lesson that when you turn down your acquisition partners, they don't really want to keep going and selling your product. So it didn't take too long for them to become a competitor pretty quick. You know? And so we ended up firing all of our media partners and doing it, of course, very professionally. They taught us a lot as a company, flew around, shook hands and said, thanks so much for the opportunity. And so January 2018, by like January 14th, I was sitting back in Kelowna and was like, Kate, we're in 20 cities. We're a team of 14 people, and we just lost all of our channel partners. So what are we going to do? And it was like looking at what we knew was successful. It was like when you had somebody on the ground that could not only sell the businesses, but service them. And we realized to really grow a great organic app audience, you needed to be doing the grassroots things, partnering with universities and minor hockey. And so I just sort of came up with this idea of like, what if we franchised it? And we had people inquiring about that. We had people inquiring for years of like, can I bring this to another country and all over the world and all over Canada? Like, how do I bring Get in the Loop to my city? And so it was sort of outside people that were suggesting they wanted to own the rights or franchise it for us. But I always thought you had to get credible enough. And so then I looked at it and was like, okay, well, every media company in Canada wants to partner with us. They all wanted to buy us. We have hundreds of businesses that are proven on here. It was like, I think that's a franchise. And so we came up with this concept, Get in the Loop Local. And it was like, we're going to create the first ever SaaS digital franchise. And it was a really funny getting started story is I didn't tell any of our team really. I was working with like one or two members of our team on it a little bit, but the reality was I was quite fearful I was going to be wrong, that like this wouldn't go. And then you couldn't be distracted where everybody's like, oh, now we have a failed digital franchise. And so nobody knew. I built the website on Squarespace myself. I did all these videos on the computer of like why you'd buy a franchise all within 2 days. And then on Friday night, having a glass of wine, I posted out on Kijiji in Manitoba, like, join the digital franchise revolution or become like a, a digital entrepreneur. And I was trying to like A/B test what people would be interested in on Kijiji ads. Woke up Saturday morning and like 9 people had applied to buy a franchise. And by Sunday it was 25. So Monday morning I came in and I had drawn up a media release and was like, hey, put a media release out that we're franchising. And people were like, what do you mean you're franchising? And I was like, just put it out. And we had 150 people apply that week. And wow. the rest is sort of history. We've been sort of selling anywhere from 3 to 5 franchises a month since. And so, awesome. and it's made such a big difference, because the hard part today is how do you actually get into local communities and how do you actually work with local businesses? Sales teams are so expensive and they turn over, but having an entrepreneur that's committed to that local business community and truly cares,
exactly,
it's a difference maker. And so it's really changed the business. It's allowed us to go really fast. I mean, we're in every market in Canada today, and as soon as the pandemic fades, we can be in a lot of markets around the world as well. But it wasn't some grand idea or plan. It was like, hey, this is a shot and let's see. And then the world just like turned on us and wanted to do it. I mean, I think we played on a lot of stuff. People do care about their local business communities a lot. They want to get into innovative industries. Like getting into tech's a cool thing. And this is a way you could buy into tech as opposed to having to join and be a developer.
Right.
And then I think that sort of the culture of work-life balance, people want to work from their phone and all of that. And like, unless you're an Instagram model, it's hard to have a job like that. And with us, you can run your whole business from a phone. You don't have to have a location and all those things that come with a traditional business. And so I think all those factors have sort of contributed to why it's went so well. Like, we've had over 10,000 people apply to buy our franchise in Canada, to give you an idea. So when I say apply, filled out 5 questions.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Are you limiting on a like a one franchisee per city basis, or a couple in an area, depending on the size of the city?
Yeah, we sort of break it down by neighborhoods. So we've got 2 franchises. So there's a $35,000 franchise, which is sort of most of them. That's anything over 25,000 population. And then we have like a 15,000 for really small markets like Dauphin, Manitoba, or Prince Rupert and things like that.
Right.
So depending on the size of the market, it's sort of just agreed with the entrepreneur. If it's like Red Deer, it's like, oh, maybe that's 1, maybe it's 2. What do we think? But then like a city like Calgary would be broken into 4 different franchise markets. So they have their own territory and neighborhood. They work together, because like one person or even 2 or 3 people can't tackle a major market, right? We'll end up with 25 franchisees in Toronto, all winning their neighborhood,
And the 15 and the 25, that's the capital investment?
Yeah. So it's 35,000 to invest for a major market and 15,000 for a small market.
Okay. And then what support do you provide them from, the franchisor level?
Yeah. So it's sort of full support. It's like a traditional franchise in how it operates, but it's also like it's innovative and fluid. I mean, we've launched 2 new products in the last 2 years. So like, you bought a franchise, imagine buying a McDonald's and then they're like, hey, we actually like to do something totally else as well. And so they have to be pretty fluid entrepreneurs.
Right.
So we do Loop University when they launch, which is sort of a 4-day crash course and everything digital in our platform. And then they go through sort of a 90-day grooming period where they get full support. Our franchisees have 3 roles. It's to sell local businesses, to service them and make it successful, and then be a local marketer for your own brand and the app.
Right.
And so they get dedicated support on all of those things. They have an account manager on sales, account manager on service, and a local marketing manager. So, and then we connect them all. Technology is such a beautiful thing. Like, we use Slack and other tools where they're all talking and learning together, weekly dialogue. And so it's not like a set it and forget it franchise. It's always moving. The market's changing, our product's changing. And so they have to be willing to continue to learn to really be successful.
For sure. That's amazing, man. Obviously, the Growth League is one of our content experiences. We run a digital marketing agency. How have you leveraged digital marketing over the growth of the company?
Yeah, I mean, we do quite a bit of it now in terms of acquiring audience and stuff. When we launch a franchise, we go in and we acquire users through a variety of different digital channels and things like that. And then over time, I think we're still figuring out how we market ourselves. we sort of started out as a technology company and not a digital marketing company, and so we're a marketing platform, but I think we could even be better at how do we better leverage SEO as a brand and a platform? How do we better leverage social?
Right.
And so we use all of those channels and we're active on them, but by no means do we think we're doing it great yet. It's a work in progress. We've been learning to develop a technology platform, develop a franchise system, and so we could still be better at marketing ourselves across those digital channels, I think.
Sure. But you're a hungry guy, so that's probably just it's probably natural.
Yeah.
So if if growth was I always say if growth was an entree or a delicious meal, what are the 3 or 4 critical ingredients that need to go into it, like foundational things that you've leaned on heavily?
Yeah, well, so capital is one of them. Obviously, you need to be able to figure out how to access capital. I think. You could get lucky enough to have one of those companies that just starts to spit out money. But that's like lottery ticket stuff. Most companies I see or startups in this world are like you got to grind it out for years and invest in the future and all of that. So you need to have access to capital, and I think I'm like a 7 out of 10 on that. We've raised about 8 million into getting a loop from angels. We have no debt, but the way our company's grown and the opportunity for us, like if I was really good, we should have already raised like 30 million and been bigger. So I'm still learning to get to that next size. So capital is one thing. Support and advisory has been big for me. I think having like a co-founding team and the people around you is important. I've leaned a lot on like very active advisors, and in many cases, sort of, I would call them co-founders. I've had advisors and mentors in the business that have really helped push this forward with me. So you need the right people around you. It is a mental grind building a company like this, because basically I've had a new job every year for like 8 or 9 years, like a brand new job. In my opinion, like everything I have to do this year is different than last year. The stakes are higher, the pressure's more, there's more people involved, and I have to figure out how to do it. So mentorship, I think, is a huge thing for growth and success. And then like passion. Passion is a thing that's probably my biggest strength. Like I really believe in our mission, and I'm really proud of the amount of businesses we get to help, and that alludes to everything. So that attracts customers, that attracts capital, it attracts talent. Like people want to be behind passionate people, and they want to join something that has that. And I think that sort of makes up for a lot of other weaknesses. Like if you're passionate enough, like everybody will sort of look through the cracks, and they'll get on board, because it's like, it's your job, I think, as you grow as a founder. All I do is sell. I'm selling everybody all day, and myself in the morning. I'm reminding myself it's still going good. And then I'm selling my team, and then I'm selling my investors, and then my customers, and then back to my team, and then back to myself. And like, you're keeping the momentum and the snowball going, right? So yeah, you got to be very passionate, I think. So
I didn't get any of the passion sense out of you.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm
well, that's the thing, man. And you're helping and you're inspiring people along the way. We don't know each other well, but like I said, for 10 years, I've just always kept a bit of an eye, and it's been, I think as entrepreneurs, we all have different things that kind of keep us going, right? And they can be very small parts of our life, just, every once in a while checking in on something on LinkedIn or whatever. But so thank you for that. Thank you for your consistency along the way, because I've definitely leaned on it multiple times.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. I actually think I've been I'm weak on consistency sometimes. Like I started that Love the Grind blog and vlog, and my energy goes up and down on that as well, because you feel like imposter syndrome sometimes, right?
Yeah.
I started Love the Grind to actually share the hard parts of, like, I'm honest on there about like what's hard about growing a team or raising capital. And because I think so many times you read the TechCrunch blogs and it sounds like you should just keep raising billions of dollars and everybody should be winning. But even I get imposter syndrome, where I get a lot of positive feedback about my content, but then I'll go 2 or 3 months where I'm like, I didn't even open social media, and I didn't do anything. Like, just wanted to be head down. Why would people listen to me? So we all go through it.
Totally. And that's okay. But I definitely encourage anyone listening to this to check it out. Love the Grind. I love the few that I've checked in on. I love that they're short form, right? They're snippets, and they're right to the heart of the matter. There's a combination of you talking with, sometimes it's just an iPhone, which is fantastic, right? And that's the authenticity behind it. And then some text, but I think why it's such impactful content, because it's very clearly real. It's not like the sugar-coated TechCrunch sort of good news stories. It is truthfully loving the grind. And do you guys still sell all that swag?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, it's so it's I'm actually wearing one now,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I got it. I'm going to get some sent out to you. That's a
yeah. I
really,
can't wait.
yeah. I'll get some sent to you. Yeah, it's sort of, and that was what it was about. Was like we started the Love the Grind brand, and it was really about our franchisees. And so it's a part of Getting the Loop, really. And it was like, hey, they're all out there loving the fact that they're pounding the doors, talking to small business, making a difference. And I think it was about like realizing that entrepreneurship's really hard, but you should love that because you're doing something for yourself and you're out there as opposed to working for the man, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right. And our whole team is entrepreneurs. And when I say that, is like everybody's a shareholder in our company, and they're a part of that. And they're treated like that. The expectation at our company is this isn't a 9 to 5. I can tell you that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
What are you looking for, right? Like, are you, again, for those listening, are you still looking for people to take on franchise opportunities, or have you paused that for a little bit? What's going on there?
Yeah, no. So we've launched 3 in March already, new markets as well. So we've got about 100 franchises in Canada, and we think fully penetrated is about 240 will be every sort of market in Canada. So we've got lots of opportunity here in Canada. So we're still looking for entrepreneurs that are interested in a digital business like ours. And we're looking for people to join our team as well, in all sort of roles right now too, technology, service, marketing. So yeah, we're an open book if great people, and through the pandemic, we're hiring sort of fully remote as well. I don't know, how's your business changed on that? I guess you guys are working remote, but are you hiring anywhere now?
Anywhere, yeah. I mean, even my business partner's always been in Vancouver, whereas I'm in Calgary, and so yeah, again, I've had to get over that a little bit. I love being in front of people, but I realize that we have this is an opportunity, if anything, right?
Yeah, we definitely used it. I mean, we were fighting against it because we believed in our culture and our office is such a big sort of a strategic advantage. And we also believe being in Kelowna is a bit of an advantage in that we're a bit of a big fish in a small pond. As soon as you get into Vancouver and Toronto, it's just all the big companies are there. But since the pandemic, I mean, we've hired people in Edmonton, East Coast, Toronto, everywhere. It's just less people as long as they can join Zoom calls.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, good. Well, where can people just on the site looking for opportunities, either work or franchise opportunity?
Yeah, for franchises, it's gettingthelooplocal.com. And for if you're looking for roles, you can go to gettingtheloop.ca careers page, or you can go to loopmediagroup.com/careers as well.
Okay.
So all of our sort of available roles are there. Yeah.
Sweet. So for this question, where were you? Just give us a sense of like, where would you be hanging out when you were like 19 years old? On the weekend, where was your local spot to hang out? Golf course or bar or whatever?
Yeah.
Coffee shop?
Yeah, it would have been, I mean, when I was 19, I was sort of on the cusp of going to play college hockey in the States, and I was a junior hockey player in Williams Lake. So, it would have been like the wing nights. I was a big wing night guy, Dakotas in Kelowna,
Oh boy, yeah.
The cheap golf courses like Sunset or Shadow Ridge probably was where I was hanging out. Yeah.
But what's that one? I can't remember what side of Kelowna it is, but the logo is like a harvest basket with like
Orchard Greens. Is it
Orchard Greens? It's
yeah,
fantastic.
Unlimited golf for like $20 or something up there, right?
That's right. So if you were able to teleport back to that, and you look at a young 19, 20-year-old Matt, and he's hanging out at wing night, and whatever, all the buddies go up to the bar, go to the bathroom or whatever, and you're sitting there and you have 30 seconds with 19-year-old Matt. What are you talking to him about? What are you telling him? What are you telling him to look out for?
Don't rush the process. That'd be the number one thing. Don't rush the process. So I've always been almost over motivated. So I graduated my university degree in 3 years instead of 4. Then I did my master's in 1 year. I quit pro hockey in Europe because I wanted the loop had started. And so when I say don't rush the process, like I would tell 19-year-old Matt and other people that not everybody in the world's willing to work as hard as the hard workers. And there's so much opportunity that if you're willing to commit, you can succeed at any point. And I shouldn't have rushed the process so much. Like I was always on to the next thing,
Yeah.
where the reality was I felt I was going to be successful no matter what, but I didn't feel that way. I always wanted to get to that next level. And so even when I started the loop, I could never look back and regret it. Look what's happened. I mean, I'm very fortunate, but I had opportunities to go play in Europe and all more years in Italy and different countries. But I was like, I got to get a business going, and the loop was taking off. And then looking back, I'm like, I could have started it when I was 30 and have traveled for 5 more years. Because like, I'm just going to work harder than people. I was going to probably be successful anyways, but you don't know that when you're 19. You just feel like, how do I find my mark in the world? So that would be my advice. It's like, don't rush the process, Maddie.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. And then and my last question is, are you a guy of habit and routine? And if so, what goes into your routine?
Yeah, that's interesting. I am, but weirdly not in how I work. We're trying to figure that out actually as a company the last 6 months to a year or so. I'm up at 4:45 pretty much every day, or 5. Sort of coffee and emails. I like to get a workout in, which like working out for me now could be a stiff walk too. Not crossfitting here, don't get me wrong.
I'm the same way, man. That's hilarious.
Asterisks on the workout, but like I like to get us a
movement
going. Yeah, movement. And like I like to start early. Before 9 o'clock every day, I've done the most important things. Like I could be done at 9. And like and then in terms of the day, I'm trying to get to the point that I think I'm more of a creator than an operator. And so I'm trying to get where I have more freedom so I can focus my energy on the most important thing and where that's going. And as we become a bigger company, being the CEO of a large team has gotten a bit rigid. There's a lot of meetings. And so, we're realigning the business of it to help me with that as well. So I'm very rigid in my own, it's more like mental preparation. I think that's what sports taught me. I know how important it is to get a good sleep, how important it is to eat well and get up early and all those things. But I try and not have too much rigidity during the day.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, Matt, this has been fun. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you, and I know that everyone listening is going to take a bunch from this one. So I wish you the absolute best going forward. Can't wait to see how how you go from 100 to 250, and then maybe into the States, huh?
Yeah, exactly. No, thanks so much for having me. It's sure been nice to stay in touch all these years, and I appreciate that you brought me on here today.
Yeah, man, you bet. All right, take care.